Breaking news! We may be facing one of the most controversial and quietly revolutionary changes to come out of the NFL this season, and it's not a player trade, a coaching hire, or even the draft. It's the schedule. Yes, the schedule. And Lions fans, you're going to want to hear this because for once, the NFL may have helped us out a lot. But before we go any further, be sure to like this if you're a true Lions fan. It's always amazing to see fans of all ages cheering for this team. And if you want, comment, "Go Lions!" We're going to the Super Bowl this year. Man, I dream about it every day. Here we go. If you're a Detroit Lions fan who suffered through the brutal end to last season, when the team looked completely exhausted by the time the playoffs rolled around despite having a bye, you're not alone. Last year, the Lions were warriors, cruising to a 15-2 record, only to stumble when it mattered most. Why? The schedule was a nightmare. Think about it. 4 or 5 Thursday night games, a ridiculously early bye week, and long road trips that pushed the team to its physical limits. The team simply ran out of steam. But this year, the winds have shifted. According to multiple leaked sources, Detroit Times, Detroit vs. Everybody, and another reliable outlet, the Lions' 2025 schedule could be setting them up for a deeper postseason run, and the reasons are hard to ignore. First, let's talk miles. Travel miles, to be exact. Last year, Detroit was somewhere in the middle of the NFL pack in terms of travel. They had to fly out west multiple times to face teams like the Chargers and the 49ers. That adds up, not just in jet fuel, but in fatigue, recovery time, and wear and tear. This year, the Lions are reportedly traveling the 4th least miles in the league. That's right, the 4th least. The only notable West Coast trip, the Rams. Other than that, most away games are practically next door. The Bengals, Bears, even the Steelers are short rides away. That's a huge break over a 17-game grind. Next up, the bye week. Last season's week 4 or 5 bye was a killer. It gave players zero cushion during the toughest months of the schedule. This year, the bye looks like it'll land around week 8 or later, right in the heart of the season, when bodies need rest the most. That's a massive win in terms of stamina heading into the backstretch and potentially the playoffs. And speaking of playoffs, how about weather? If you know anything about Jared Goff's tiny hands narrative, and yes, he did shut a lot of that down last season, then you understand the concern about playing in freezing temps late in the year. But here's the genius of this schedule. The cold weather teams, Packers, Eagles, Commanders, Bengals, and Chiefs, are mostly stacked early in the schedule. We open week 1 in Green Bay, and by the time December rolls around, we're largely indoors or in neutral climates. In fact, some of the toughest road games, like Kansas City and Philadelphia, happen in the more forgiving fall months. The Christmas Day game, indoors at Minnesota. Thanksgiving, hosting Green Bay at Ford Field. And the only truly cold risk games late in the season, Philly in week 11 and Chicago in week 18. That's it. The rest, much more manageable, and that's a massive shift from last year's icy chaos. Let's not forget the primetime spotlight. Unlike the disjointed mess of last season, where games were scattered all over the week and hurt rhythm and recovery, this year most of Detroit's national games are on Sunday or Monday nights, not Thursdays. That's a subtle but important distinction. Thursday games kill prep time and recovery. This season, it looks like the Lions have fewer of those landmines. And here's the kicker. The Christmas Day game might even be a Thursday. That might sound like bad news, but think again. It's practically a built-in mini-bye before the Week 18 finale in Chicago. That's not a coincidence. That's the NFL giving Detroit a second chance to finish strong, healthy, and on rhythm. So what does all this mean? It means the NFL might finally be recognizing what Lions fans have been screaming for years. This team is for real, and they deserve a shot to prove it without being sabotaged by the calendar. But here's the million-dollar question. Does this favorable schedule guarantee success in January? Or are there deeper issues the team needs to overcome? Let me know what you think. Should we trust this new setup, or are there still warning signs ahead? Because while the scheduling gods have finally smiled on Detroit, no schedule, no matter how well aligned, can mask deeper roster vulnerabilities, mental lapses, or game day execution issues. And that's where the pressure really starts to build. The Lions can't afford to squander this opportunity. Think about what's being handed to them. Minimal travel stress, strategic rest points with a mid-season bye, fewer short-week recoveries, and cold weather games stacked early before the true winter grind. That's as ideal as it gets in the NFL. But the team has to make it count. Every single favorable condition becomes irrelevant if the Lions fail to take advantage where it matters most, the field. Let's talk quarterback. Jared Goff has had his critics, especially when it comes to handling extreme elements. The small hands and cold weather label has been slapped on him for years. But last season, he shut down much of that noise, proving he could deliver even in the nastiest conditions. Still, wouldn't any QB, even the elite ones, prefer a schedule like this? Opening the season in Green Bay instead of ending it there is no small thing. That one shift could be the difference between a division win and a wild card berth. It matters a lot. Then there's the defense. Last season's grueling stretch exposed how thin the Lions were at times, especially on the injury front. The relentless Thursday games, combined with constant cross-country travel, took a toll on the roster. By the time they reached the postseason, you could see it in their legs, their reaction times, and their overall intensity. This year, with the travel load dialed down and consistent game rhythm, the coaching staff has a real shot at maintaining peak performance deeper into the year. But here's a twist no one's talking about: the mental side of this game. When a team knows it's getting screwed week after week by the league office, it's demoralizing. Last year, it felt like Detroit was constantly fighting uphill. That kind of adversity builds resilience, sure, but it also grinds players down. This year, with a more balanced, favorable slate, the Lions have a chance to play loose, confident, focused, and when you combine that mental clarity with real on-field talent and preparation, that's when magic happens. And don't overlook those holiday games. Hosting Green Bay on Thanksgiving and traveling to Minnesota for Christmas, both divisional matchups, both with massive implications, are more than just regular season contests. They're statement games. They're the ones the whole country sees. And if Detroit wins both, you're not just talking about playoff seeding. You're talking about a national message, a culture shift, a new narrative. It's also worth mentioning how much this schedule impacts fan morale. Lions fans are some of the most loyal, passionate fans in all of sports, and we've been through everything. Watching your team burn out just when it's hitting its stride is heartbreaking. But now, there's a sense of hope that doesn't feel naive. It feels calculated, justified, earned. The league has noticed. The team is on the radar, and it's time to capitalize. Of course, this is still the NFL. Nothing is ever guaranteed. There are still traps. The Week 18 game at Chicago? Brutal weather could turn that into a rock fight, especially if playoff seeding is on the line. And the Week 11 visit to Philadelphia? That could be a playoff preview, and the kind of test Detroit needs to see where it truly stands. But here's the thing. If that's all the Lions have to worry about in terms of climate chaos or travel fatigue, that's a massive win. And there's another subtle advantage baked into this schedule: routine. Unlike last season's chaos, this year allows for rhythm. Players thrive on routine. Coaches thrive on rhythm. It leads to consistency. And in a league where one or two plays often decide games, that consistency can make all the difference. Imagine a team that's not just physically fresher, but mentally sharper, because the calendar is finally working with them, not against them. So what's next? That's the burning question. With a favorable schedule, sky-high expectations, and a hungry fan base, the margin for error is shrinking. The Lions are no longer underdogs sneaking up on the league. They're being featured on holidays. They're getting primetime slots. The NFL is watching. The fans are watching. The pressure is real. Will this team rise to meet the moment, or will the comfort of a favorable schedule mask deeper cracks that haven't been addressed? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe this is the year the Lions finally break through, or is there still unfinished business that could derail the journey? And as always, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more exclusive Lions coverage, and check out the next video that's now up on your screen. Go Lions!